So after destroying the Empire's most valued weapon, the Death Star, did the Empire just forget about the Rebel base on Yavin 4? Today I'll be talking about the initial events following the Battle of Yavin, including the massive attack and bombing on the temples that was led by Darth Vader himself, and I'll also briefly go over how Vader meets Luke and how he also duels him.
Light work, no reaction.
Okay, it's got a little kick. Oh!
Going to moments right after the Death Star 1 is decimated, we find the Rebellion victorious despite their heavy casualties, and they celebrate this the following morning in a ceremony which gives the two heroes, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, medals of bravery. As soon as the ceremony was over, General Jan Dodonna announced to the rebels that they must leave at once due to the threat of an Imperial counterattack. All rebel fleets arrived to assist with the evacuation, while other rebels helped scout for incoming Imperial attack. Han Solo and Chewbacca made preparations for departure from the rebels, but Princess Leia convinced them to help rescue Lieutenant Kalun Imat from the planet Syrkan. Then an Imperial retaliation did occur with multiple Star Destroyers, probe droids, and masses of Imperial stormtroopers breaching the planet. Darth Vader also took part in this attack. Now you might be asking, what happened to Vader after he spun off into space? Well, Vader actually crash landed on the planet Vol, where he made his way over to the Imperial Communications outpost there and was attacked by a pack of Hyenax before killing their leader, and the pack followed him to the outpost, and without a word, Vader entered his Lambda-class shuttle, leaving the Imperials at the outpost to be torn to pieces by the Hyenax pack. Back to the present though, we now have Vader leading the Imperial retaliation on Yavin 4. A skilled rebel squad protected the outside before being forced to move into the base. Troops from Lieutenant Myra Talcon helped reinforce this squad. According to the tale told by Emil Graf, a wild space cartographer,
What did you say?
When the majority of the rebels were still in the Great Temple, an Imperial Star Destroyer and onslaught of TIE fighters arrived with the ISD set to fire at the base within minutes. Rebel soldiers managed to incapacitate the crew on board, but the controls were still locked to fire within 5 minutes on the temple at full power. So basically orbital bombardment, but up close. However, Yvonne Verlaine of the Rebel Alliance Starfighter Corps got inside of the Raider-class corvette she found in the hangar of the Star Destroyer and used it to ram into the side of the ship, which barely managed to move it, but it was just enough to miss the Great Temple and hit a mountain behind the temple, which created what would be known as the Flat Mountain of Yavin. Two freighters attempted to escape, and while a Star Destroyer intercepted them with a tractor beam, the combined challenge of the second ship on top of the first one allowed for them to both get away and escape from the weakened tractor beam. Later, General Cassio Tag of the Empire had the Great Temple searched with little results. The rebels also realized in their haste to leave that they had forgotten to destroy the data banks, which were now sitting in the midst of Imperial occupation. Rebel operatives managed to land on the moon and destroy the data even while being close to so many stormtroopers. Now, what I just read was all from canon, minus the Darth Vader Hyenax bit, and now let's look at the Legends version of these events, which has an Imperial blockade around Yavin for 6 months. Similar in some ways to the Naboo blockade from the Phantom Menace. Heavy equipment left the moon, but otherwise the base stayed operational as an act of defiance. Darth Vader began construction on the Executor Super Star Destroyer, which came to the Yavin system, but the rebels used a power gem to slow down the Super Star Destroyer, and they sadly lost Vraf Dodonna, son of General Jan Dodonna. Due to the spread rebel forces inside and outside of the blockade, the Imperials couldn't really do too much until the Executor arrived, because if they sat back, the rebels would escape the base, but if they destroyed Yavin 4 base, they were at risk of a massive raid somewhere else in the galaxy. Admiral Akbar led a campaign of battles away from the Yavin system to divert Imperial ships to allow a space for a rebellion retreat. Meanwhile, Vader's Death Squadron finally arrived, bringing with it the Super Star Destroyer, numerous other destroyers, AT-STs, AT-ATs, scout troopers on 74Z speeder bikes, also TIE fighters and TIE bombers, which bombed the jungles, and even Juggernaut's tanks, which were a different model than what was seen in the days of the Republic, this being the HAV-WA-5 Juggernaut to be exact. General Dodonna waited until everyone else was evacuated before leaving himself. Darth Vader led a ground attack up to the Massassi Temple with 2 AT-STs, and as the pyramid was being occupied, Dodonna was still inside and managed to destroy 5 Indictor TIE fighters, but ended up being rescued by Luke Skywalker, Wedge Antilles, and Darklight Piet. However, he refused to board an escape transport and was captured by Imperials. In a move reminiscent of the Holdo maneuver, Admiral Emai's Griff of the Rebellion commanded 3 Star Destroyers through hyperspace to fly into the Executor, which didn't destroy it, but did give the rebels sufficient time to escape. Now, when do Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader first meet in canon? That is ignoring the time in A New Hope they looked at each other from across a massive chasm. Well, in canon, Luke fights Vader months after the Battle of Yavin on Kaimon 1, where him and Han and Leia had infiltrated to stop negotiations between Jabba and the Empire. Luke sensed the presence of Vader, and Chewie alerted them of his arrival. Luke went to avenge Obi-Wan's death and his father's death as well, but heard Ben Kenobi telling him to run right as he faced Vader. The Dark Lord quickly dispatched of him and took his lightsaber, about to kill the unexperienced boy in a move very similar to that of the beheading of Count Dooku. But then he saw that this was the lightsaber hilt that was once his own, and Han crashed an AT-AT into the factory walls, which gave Skywalker enough time to escape. And for finding Hoth, in Legends, Luke Skywalker was actually caught in an ambush near Yavin while on a scouting mission. He was forced to hide in the hyperwash of a trans-dimensional comet, which deposited him on the planet Hoth. He reported this planet back to the Alliance, and then they made plans to evacuate from Yavin 4, as well as Thela, the home to another major rebellion base, as well as massive mountain ranges visible from space. Luke was moved to Rogue Squadron on Hoth for patrolling the barren snowscape in 3 BBY, which is where the gap between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back is filled in. Let me know if you would like me to explain the periods of time in between the other Star Wars movies, like in between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, for example. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. Consider checking out the merch store for some brand new fall merch that I think has some very cool pieces like this Anakin streetwear right here. Also, for my Christian/life advice of the week, I'm gonna have to think about that one. My advice for this week is going to be to rely on your friends and trust in your friends, and they really can bear some of the burden that you are carrying and can help you out with some of the things that you're really stressed about, or just help you with some of the tasks of your day. And they can really lift you up. And also, even if everyone else is sort of ignoring you, judging you, whatever, you have to keep pushing, because there are going to be those sort of lights in the darkness that will appreciate you for who you are and for the hard work you are putting forth in your day-to-day life. Oh, an album of the week is going to be I Am, I Was by 21 Savage. Pretty good album, not going to lie, especially a lot. There's a good song on there. You can leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this video, any video suggestions you want me to cover, or if you just want to tell me how your week's been going. But anyway, I upload normal videos every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, shorts every single day. Shout out to my editor, Zeno Harry. Love you, man. But yeah, see ya.